Hi, Tarotpuoti group. And now I have very special guest here today. And today we're doing this in English because we have Sharon from Herbal Cacao, and they are the people that bring these goodies to us here in Finland in Tarotpuoti. So, hi, Sharon.
Hi, honey. Thanks for having me here.
So good to have you here because I wanted this opportunity for people to meet the people who give us the cacao in Finland.
Yes, I'm very happy to connect and share a little bit of a face and voice behind what brings Herbal Cacao to Finland. But to get started, I actually prepared a nice cup of cacao. So let's take a moment to connect with our cup and set a nice, I would say dropping in to open up the space for our conversation together with intention. So to begin, I would invite you to either take your cup of cacao with both hands, or if you're just tuning in without anything, it's all good. Just dropping in by closing your eyes and taking a moment to draw all energy from the outside inside and taking a connection with our breath, our anchor into this present moment. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and letting it out through the mouth. Let's do that one more time. And then you feel yourself connected more into the present moment with a beautiful, strong energy connecting our head to the heart of the sky. And a strong energy moving with our feet firmly connected into the ground, to the heart of the earth. Taking our breath with awareness to our heart space. Recognize yourself, your energy. From here, let's set a beautiful intention for this conversation ahead. Right, repeating it back to yourself silently or out loud. My intention is to share from the heart, and to connect. Let's whisper it into our cup. And then mindfully, we can take our first sips of cacao. And whenever you're ready, opening our eyes.
That was beautiful and also a perfect little example here right from the beginning. What you can do with your cacao every day when you're
Exactly. It's
enjoying it.
a little ritual, right? Like coming back and taking a moment to connect with ourselves is actually where it all starts, right? That's where we create from.
Yeah.
Yeah, and bringing mindfulness back in as well, I think is an important element. And in that sense, cacao is just a bridge if we only talk about this small part. So it's always nice for me to set the space when we're dropping into conversations to, open up a portal together and be like, okay, this is where we're going.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. But then now this is probably your several thousands of cups of cacao. Do you still remember your first experience when you sat down with the cacao for the first time?
It's interesting. It's a beautiful relationship that I've built with the medicine myself, I would say. Um, I have to start by saying that before I got introduced into the world of ceremonial cacao, I was just a massive chocolate fan. I was a lover of chocolate, but at the same time, I was also having a very deep interest in nutrition and wellness and health foods and superfoods and all of that. And when my journey evolved and made its way to Mexico, and I got in touch with the rich culture and all the deep ancient traditions that are actually behind cacao, which is the first foremost main product before chocolate is made from that, a whole world opened up for me, I would say. So yeah, I consumed cacao and chocolate already in, I would say, quite a big of quantities and dosages. But the first time I would say where I've had a cup of very high quality cacao, minimally processed, that wasn't so much at that time in a ceremonial setting. The effects that it gave me were so beautiful and profound. At least this is my personal experience. For me, it was this beautiful warm glow that people and our community is constantly talking about. It's something that you can say in words, but it doesn't really land until you've actually experienced it yourself.
Yeah.
Which is why I always say, try it. And then we can speak about the things that you experience and feel and arise. Yeah, it's like this warm glow that just comes through. It's different than this rushed energy that I'm just thinking I might have, a very subtle part of me might have thought or expected cacao to have give you that intense energy rush that is almost like out of yourself.
Yeah.
And instead, I experienced something way more like actually really different. I didn't really know what to expect, to be very honest. But when I did had my big cup of cacao for the first time, I also felt more clarity, as in just dropping into feeling, into being, instead of being in this version of yourself that is constantly going. Yeah, and that just felt really beautiful, very soft and loving almost. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, I
one.
mean, I can go on and on about this.
Yeah, that's the one thing that people always talk about when we talk about ceremonial cacao, which is a totally different thing than just like the boys that we get here in the store, the powdered ones.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the heart opening,
Yeah.
kind of like the effect of it, it's very hard to describe.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, cacao is already a beautiful superfood when it works on a nutritional level, on the physical part. And then it has this beautiful extra element layer to it that it works so beautiful on our energetic body. And like I was just experiencing and explaining this without the whole ceremonial setting. But if you bring in setting, which is one third of the equation, in my opinion, intention is another one, and then the medicine itself, this like magical triangle of three it can definitely be life-changing for people. And we do feel that, or we hear that feedback from people in our community. And yeah, beautiful, I can say, for a subtle plant medicine of cacao.
That's absolutely true. And but there is, as you said, it can be this like you don't have to be like a spiritual person, for example, to
Absolutely not.
and you
Mm.
don't have to make it, even though the ceremonies they add up and they make up. But just by itself, it's such, healthy, routine that you can take into your life. And at least here in Finland, we have a lot of like genetic heart problems, heart diseases, like in the eastern Finland. And so for especially for the heart health and also for brain and whatever. So it can be just as a superfood, but when you combine it and it doesn't have to be even a big ceremony, but even a smaller one, even with yourself. For example, the way I love to enjoy my cacao and have my rituals is that I of course, have the intention there. But after that, I like to sit down with my harmonium and sing. I do mantra music, and then the music, and then the cacao, and it's just beautiful there.
It is, it is. I love that. That's so beautiful. And I love how this brings, oh, sorry, there's so many elements and points that I wanted to touch on what you were just mentioning, but just to come back of like the spiritual part first. It's so true. We don't have to create like a really big ceremony that sometimes frightens people that are very new on their spiritual journey. It could be as simple as creating a small little ritual for yourself, or even if that is too much for people to digest, taking a moment to connect and mindfully drink your cup.
Yeah,
Set a very small, simple intention that could just be one word, and just mindfully taking the sips, like taking in the aroma, connecting where your cacao is coming from, just taking in the sense, knowing that it is a superfood and nourishing our body. Just the simplicity of that is actually already spiritual.
it is.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
here,
And
here,
then
go ahead.
now you were mentioning about like connecting when you're drinking your cup with your instruments and music, which is such a beautiful element to deepen that connection, because when we're taking cacao, it really strengthens this creativity part of us, right? And I love seeing that in the whole, I would say, ceremonial cacao movement, how everybody is bringing their own personal elements into this, and how you see how beautiful complementary it works. If we're talking about breath work or breath work practitioners that together with cacao can have very deep and profound journeys, or yoga nidra, music, also creative art in painting or drawing, creative writing, expressive writing. Oh, so many.
And a lot of our customers, of course, in Tarotpuoti, because we sell like tarot decks and oracle decks. So nowadays they have amazing oracle decks that have like these themes that are so appropriate, like these more as ancestral and natural. And we have a lot of these like Southern American vibes in the oracle deck. So people like to sit with their oracle cards and then just create a little ritual. So it doesn't have to be so complicated every time.
No, exactly.
But then what do you think, like nowadays, because at least in Finland, I've been following this movement of the cacao and seeing it rise up. What do you think, like, what is what is it in this time that people are suddenly drawn towards cacao? Because I don't know the situation there in the rest of Europe, but at least in Finland, it just came like suddenly out of nowhere.
Um, well, maybe it's because I've been already for quite some time in the cacao world, I would say, that I didn't feel it came suddenly, but I can tie this into the energy that I feel we're worldwide experiencing about consciousness rising, waking up. Like it's obviously it's in different terms interpreted around the world, but we're all experiencing it. People are more consciously aware. There is definitely a different energetic cycle happening within the world. And I believe cacao is a very beautiful way to support this. As we talked about earlier, cacao is a medicine of the heart, and it helps us to connect back to that part of ourselves, but also with a very soft and loving way. So it's not as hard as some of the other plant medicines that sometimes feel like a slap in the face, wake up.
Yeah,
This is more like a warm hug saying like,
yeah.
I'm here, remember me, I'm here to love and protect and guide. Um, and yeah, so it's a beautiful way how we can support that. And I also believe that people are looking for deeper connection. And I'm not talking about like maybe the outside connection, but maybe like inner connection to themselves, having the deeper questions of life. And cacao helps, in my opinion, to deepen this connection. Yeah.
And then here we are used to, us working in Tarotpuoti and our customers, we are used to seeing these packages like on the store now. But I would love for you to tell the story about what happens from start to beginning. Like how does this end up here? Where does
Yeah.
this come from? What it is? What is the travels like? What's your role in it? And what's the part where it comes in, like, just to give us a little story about the route where
Yes,
the
of
cacao
course.
comes to us.
I always give the example of like the story from bean to cup, right? And I have a little bean here that I can show you. Let's see, where is my beans? Actually, there is one of my little altar here as well. A little cacao bean. So these beans, they grow, let's start at the very, very beginning, right? So we source the cacao directly from indigenous communities. They're indigenous Quechua or Mopan Maya in Belize and in Guatemala. Actually, this region used to be the same region. They're very close to each other, but there is this really big mountain range and thick jungle that you can't really move through, that is kind of separating the countries. Anyway, just to come back from the cacao bean. So this beautiful cacao bean grows inside a cacao pot, which I also have here to show you. Okay, this is dried and it's very small, but it hangs on the branches of the tree like this in all different colors, green, yellow, red, orange. And when it's ripe, they open the pot and inside you see all these seeds, but there is a white pulp around it. So what happens is when they take out the seeds and the white pulp, that will then go through a fermentation. And that is done through banana leaves, and then it's in big wooden boxes. And after the fermentation, they spread it out so it can be dried in the sun. And then they go through it hand by hand sorting the perfect beans, and the ones that are not so good anymore, they get separated. And then we have this beautiful cacao bean left over. So that is a small little background story about where the bean comes from. Okay, then the bean and this is all done by the indigenous communities. So the cacao trees grow on very high biodiverse lands. So they have ancestral lands being passed down from generation to generation. And there is a very deep devotion and care and love for the lands, for cacao, which is really still definitely regarded as a sacred plant for them. So there is prayers, there is offerings to cacao itself. When the tree is planted, there is a huge community celebration with music, with cacao, with everything. And then usually the spiritual leader from the area will come and bless the whole land. And the same is done for harvesting time. So that's very beautiful. And that's the intention and love that is infused in these beans. Okay, and then just to give you a little bit of the final touch, what happens then is we take the outside of the cacao bean away, which is called the cacao husk. Now, it might be a bit difficult to show you on this one, but then that is grinded with two volcanic stones. And because the cacao is more than 50% fat, it naturally becomes liquefied. And that is called minimal processing, because that is the minimum processing that we can do to actually create the cacao blocks that you have in your store. And that is kind of the simplest process to explain what happens from the bean to make it into the packages. So what I said, like, okay, we grind the bean, then there is the liquid, we pour that into the shape that you see, the round discs, and we let that cool down, and then we take it out and we package it, and yeah, that's kind of two rounds the cycle of.
And then, like the people there, the indigenous people, they grow them and they do their part. Then, what is Herbal Cacao's part? What you do here, and all these recipes, where are these coming from, and all that to the final product?
Well, the recipes, initially they come from my heart, I would say. It's something that there is the 100% cacao, and then there is the signature blend, which was one of the first ones that I came, which was the first cacao blend that I experienced from one of the indigenous communities, and this was the blend that they provided me. Now, I have to say, there is many different communities attached to Belize cacao, and then there is different communities and families to the Alta Verapaz or to the Lachua in Guatemala. And it's not even that each community will have its own recipe. Almost every household or every nonna will have their own way of making it. So this is the signature blend to herbal cacao, and all the other medicinal mushrooms or other spices. It's a combination of, I would say, something that touched my heart deeply, and how I blended it into my own cacao, and I felt like this is very beautiful, potent, something that I definitely want to share with more people. But to bring it back to the indigenous communities, and how herbal cacao, the connection from herbal cacao. Yeah, so we go to the communities, we source the cacao beans, especially from them, making sure that they get above the fair trade price for their cacao. Direct relationship with the indigenous communities, having initiatives in place to support them, listen to them, understand their struggles and needs, and see how we could be of more help and service to building a relationship that is rooted in reciprocity and with deep honoring and respect to their traditional and ancient ways of connecting to a plant medicine that is regarded sacred for them. And to extend our ethical values throughout our full supply chain, we work together with a social working company in the Netherlands that is then doing the full blending and packaging of the finalized product. I'm pointing there because
Yeah.
I'm drinking this one today.
Oh, you have the passion one there. I love that
Yeah.
one too, with the rose petals.
Yeah, I felt for some soft, energizing cacao for this call.
So it's quite the journey that the cacao makes.
Yes, yes, definitely.
And then
And I think it's also very underestimated what a journey cacao actually makes from the moment that it's just a seed planted into the soil and then going through the stages before it even arrives to the Netherlands. That process is very special. Yeah.
And that's where when I'm talking with customers, when we are talking like people that they're buying their cacao for the first time, and we go through the process like where it's coming from, and I'm talking with them about how to also prepare the cacao, because it's also a part where you should be. It's not like when you just cook some quick meal or brew a pot of coffee. I always recommend them to do it with intention and have their prayers or music or singing at least a good vibe, and not
Yes,
like aggressively making it just in a rush.
exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, I feel like that is already the start of your little ritual or ceremony, however you want to call it. But for somebody that is probably very new to cacao, just inviting the moment of the preparation being the very beginning for the moment of being mindful and connecting and coming already back to yourself, infusing the cacao as you stir the cacao, already thinking of like, okay, why am I making this? What is my intention? What do I want the medicine to serve me today? And simple things like this can already have such a beautiful, profound effect for yourself. Yeah. And of course, we can make it as beautiful as we want. We can dance around it. We can sing songs, play music. I always also smudge the cacao before just to cleanse it completely. But yeah, we can bring in all the elements that we desire to make it a beautiful party anyway, a
Yeah, and
party for our soul.
that's why I love the fact that you have created these recipes that the cacaos for beginners, because if you just take the plain one, the unflavored one, I think it needs something. Because if you just make an unflavored cacao with water for the first time, then your experience will taste very different than if you properly make a good blend with like perfect spices in it. So these make it so easy for people to start. What is your favorite base when you make your own cacao? What is your favorite like recipe to go to make a cup?
I actually always use water as my
Okay.
base, always water. Um, in the very, very, very beginning, I used sometimes oats milk, but it quickly became, for me personally, too heavy to digest.
Yeah.
But let me start up front by saying that everybody experiences different, and it's so important to tune in with your body and understand what your body needs. There is plenty of people in our community that add a little bit of sweetness to their cacao, which is totally okay. And then you also have the opportunity to decide how much you want to add and which kind of sweetener, right? Because there's
Yeah.
also a world of difference there. And a lot of indigenous communities, they also add honey as a sweetener to their cacao. So that's all good. But yeah, I usually just do it with water, and then I add any kind of spices or herbs that I feel called to for that moment. So I always intuitively tune in, and surprise, surprise, I have my herbal cabinet. When I open it, there's like all the different herbs and flowers. That is like always my favorite moment. The moment that I open that, I'm like, okay, that's for me the moment that I'm anchoring. And I'm like, okay, now we're taking a moment for me. What do I feel? What do I need? And yeah, and to simplify that, that is also one of the reasons why I've created all the different blends out there that all
Yeah.
serve in a different way for us.
Yeah, because I think it's been really interesting for people to see what are becoming their favorites. And now people have been really excited about the Blue Lotus one also. And I love that you have like spicy blends, but then also non-spicy blends, because at least for Finns, we have a bit different uh, spice cabinets here than in the Southern Americas. Like here's like a pinch of salt and no cayenne pepper.
No,
So,
no, no,
so
no.
that's why it's good to have these different palettes.
Even though I thought maybe before we were on record, you told me that your favorite was the Divine Strength, which is with the cayenne pepper, correct?
Yeah, I love them all, but there are
Okay.
different tastes. Yeah,
Yes.
actually, one I really been enjoying the lion's mane when you changed it to the cardamom. It was also I
Mm,
love the cardamom there. It's
yes, yeah.
beautiful.
And it grows side by side with cacao in Guatemala, the cardamom. Yeah, also beautiful to see.
Yeah, and it's been beautiful because I'm sitting like in a Finnish forest and I make it in this thermos flask to take it with me. And then I'm sitting in Finnish forest and then I give it a, a wee drop to, the forest ground as an offering of this cacao and just sit in the nature and to imagine the journey that the sacred plant has done. And now it's visiting us here in Finland and they are connecting with our earth. And that's just,
Yeah, exactly. And also to give a moment of gratitude and connection back to the great mother that support us. It's
Yeah.
a very common practice for the indigenous communities. And thanks for bringing that up because it's an important element to bring in when we're talking about bringing cacao into ceremony. Because for the indigenous Maya communities, when they do a sacred Maya ceremony, the first thing is that the first cup of cacao is offered in the altar as a offering to all the energies that they are serving and working with as a thank you and gratitude. It's always the first cup shared to them. So thanks for bringing
Yeah.
that up.
And
Mm.
before we end this part here, and we might continue some other time and go deeper into cacao, but what is the one main message that you love about when you're working with cacao to share with the world? What is your main message with this medicine?
I think it comes back a lot in our stories or in the way how we what we share on our website and Instagram as well. Be the love, share the love, spread the love. And together we're co-creating a conscious new world of heart-centered living, one little cacao sip at a time, or wherever you are on your journey. It is the consciousness of like coming back to our hearts. And it ties into the thing that we started in the beginning, this big spiritual awakening that's happening. People are just coming back to themselves, to their heart, to their true essence. And it's so beautiful to see how cacao is a supportive medicine, a gift from Mother Nature to support us, humanity, to coming back into this journey.
Absolutely, and bring us more connected back with Mother Nature, no matter like where we are, because it's all the same place anyway.
Exactly.
But thank you so much for tuning in with us here in Finland. It was so lovely to hear more about herbal cacao and our customers and especially our staff. We really, really love these products. So thank you for, being a great partner of sharing this medicine with us.
Oh, thank you. You're very welcome. Also, my deep thanks and gratitude for the beautiful partnership that we have and giving this opportunity to also speak directly to your community. And I open any questions or deeper questions or reflections from your community. I'm happy to dive in another time deeper to any reflections that come up after this conversation. So
And I will also add the socials at the end of this video so you can check out more about herbal cacao there. Thank you guys. Thanks for
thank
watching.
you.
Bye.